Hi everyone, if you're anything like me, I'm sure you're now deep in the mechanical keyboard rabbit hole. And I'm also sure you've had difficulty before looking for that perfect keycap set to tie your whole build together. We've all experienced missed group buys, incompatible layouts, expensive sets, and of course scalpers. But today I wanted to show you guys one of my favorite places to get keycaps from. They have a variety of colorways, materials, layout compatibility, and all for a reasonable price. I'm talking about Tai-Hao Keycaps. Before we go any further, I do want to disclose that Tai-Hao did send me some of these products for this video, but don't worry, they don't have any control over what I'm gonna say. And actually, I was the one who reached out to them because I enjoyed their products so much. Alright, and now we can get on with it. So first off, who is Tai-Hao? Tai-Hao is a Taiwanese company that was founded in 1962. Their name is composed of two Chinese characters, Tai and Hao. Tai, which means absolute, and Hao, which means excellence. So basically in English, their company means absolute excellence. They started out in the plastic business, and now they're known for their keycaps and their keyboard accessories. And now that we know who they are, let's get into why I like their stuff so much. So to start off, I wanted to talk about, in general, the difficulty of finding nice keycap sets. Especially when it comes to group buys, it can be really difficult to get a set that you really want. And if you miss a group buy, you may never see this set again, which really sucks. Then the only thing you can do is pray that they make another batch, or if you're lucky, you'll find it in the aftermarket, but most likely you have to pay extra for that. And even if you do successfully get into a group buy, it could take several months or even longer for the set to get to you. The whole group buy experience can be quite demoralizing and frustrating for beginners and veterans alike. So this is where Tai-Hao comes in. Tai-Hao sets are always in stock and for reasonable prices. You won't have to worry about missing your group buy or waiting forever for your order to finally arrive. Now let's get into the keycaps themselves. Tai-Hao boasts a wide variety of keycaps. From different colorways to different materials, they have a lot of options to choose from. And for this video, they were nice enough to send me 3 different sets. They sent me a 2-tone ABS set, the 6-tone PBT Mykonos set, and a 42 set of rubber keycaps. Let's take a look at what makes these sets so special, starting with the plastic sets. Immediately you can tell something important simply by flipping the keycaps over. As you can see, the keycaps are double shot. If you're unfamiliar with how legends are printed on keycaps, I'll give you a brief explanation of some of the common printing methods and explain why double shot is the best for longevity. The first method of printing legends on keycaps is to simply print it on basically by using something similar to paint. This method is typical of pre-built keyboards that you might find in your office or school, and as you may know, the legends wear away quite easily. I would say this method of printing keycaps is quite uncommon for custom keycaps, so it's not something you need to worry about. This method of printing keycaps is by far the worst method because the legends wear away so easily. I'm sure we've all seen office and school keyboards that have missing letters on them, and it's definitely something you want to avoid, especially if you're planning on using your keyboard for a long time. But like I said before, you probably don't have to worry about this when you're looking for custom keycaps, because it's mostly typical for things like office keyboards. Another typical method is dye sublimation. As the name suggests, the legends are dyed into the plastic of the keycaps. This makes it slightly more resilient to wear than printing, but not completely immune to it. It's quite a common method for keycap manufacturers considering how quick and cheap it is. And it gives great results too. But it does have its limitations. Again, it isn't completely 100% immune to wear, and also it's difficult, if not impossible, to dye a light color on a dark background. So if you're looking for something like a white on black set, it probably isn't going to be dye sublimated. And that finally brings us to double shot, which is the method that Tai-Hao uses. The double shot method of printing keycaps completely eliminates the possibility of wear. This is because the legends themselves are made of colored plastic, and the rest of the keycap is then molded around it. This makes it impossible for the legends to wear away because they're physically part of the keycap. In the keyboard community, it's largely agreed upon that the double shot method is the best method for printing keycaps, and because the legends are dyed plastic, that means you have better options for colors because you're able to dye whatever color legend you want with whatever color keycap you want. And if you want to learn more about keycap printing, I'll link an article below which goes into a lot more depth. Alright, another reason I like Tai-Hao so much is that they carry both ABS and PBT plastics. Because they carry both, it allows for a wider variety of choices when selecting your next keycap set. ABS keycaps are known to have crisper legends, more color variety, and straighter and more consistent keys. The downside of ABS keycaps is that over time, they'll eventually get shiny. And obviously the shininess is something that's quite undesirable, especially when you have a nice colorful keycap set. So ABS keycaps, while they might look nicer than other materials at first, eventually over time they'll show signs of wear. So that's just something you gotta keep in mind when selecting an ABS keycap set. PBT keycaps solve a lot of the issues that ABS keycaps have. They have a rougher texture, won't get shiny over time, and generally they have a deeper sound. However, one of the biggest downsides of PBT keycaps is that they're more inconsistent when compared to ABS keycaps. Especially when it comes to the longer keys, PBT keycaps are known to come with some warping. I would say it's pretty difficult to notice this warping unless you really pay attention to it. And for most people, I'm sure it won't have any effect on you. Of the two, I prefer PBT keycaps. To me, they just feel higher quality, and it's reassuring knowing that they won't get shiny over time. One thing I did want to point out about Tai-Hao is that they specifically have backlit PBT keycaps. At least in my experience, finding double shot PBT backlit keycaps is nearly impossible. I think the only other company I've seen do this was probably Razer. And with Razer keycaps, you're only limited to a couple of colorways. But with Tai-Hao, you have a multitude of colorways, as shown here with this 6-tone set. So if you're looking for specifically double shot backlit PBT keycaps, definitely check out Tai-Hao. Alright, the next thing I wanted to talk about is layout compatibility. If you're using a special layout, it could be hard to find compatible keycap sets for your build. This is especially true if you're doing something like a 65% keyboard. If you've done a 65% keyboard build before, I'm sure you know the struggle of looking for a keycap set that has a 1.75U right shift key. Well, don't worry anymore because Tai-Hao has tons of keycaps for layout compatibility. They have everything from multiple spacebar sizes, 1.5U control in all keys, step caps lock, and of course, the legendary 1.75U right shift key. And if you're looking for something more specific, Tai-Hao also has blanks, which could come in handy. And what's even better is that you can buy individual keys. I actually bought a whole bunch of 1.75U right shift keys because I predicted I'd be building a lot of 65% keyboards for Animec, and I thought I would stock up just to have them ready. And actually, I've used them in previous builds before. So if you're worried about layout compatibility, check Tai-Hao, and I'm sure they'll have a set that fits your needs. Okay, lastly, I wanted to talk about something more unique. These are Tai-Hao's rubber gaming keycaps. They provide a really nice texture for when you're gaming and a whole lot of grip. I've actually used these rubber gaming keycaps before for like 2 years, and I got so used to gaming with them that it took me a long time to readjust to normal keycaps again. I can tell you from personal experience that gaming with these feels amazing. It's just something about the texture and the extra grip that makes you feel more connected to your keyboard. It's kind of indescribable, but once you try it out, I'm sure you'll really enjoy it for gaming. So if you're making a keyboard specifically for gaming, I would say definitely check out some of these rubber keycaps. I think the whole 42 set is a bit overkill, so personally I would go with the smaller 18 set of keys. These cover all your common gaming keys, and they free up the rest of your keyboard to use whatever keycap set you want. So if you're really into gaming, definitely check out these rubber keycaps. And that's pretty much it for the video. I want to say a big thank you to Tai-Hao for sending me all these sets, and even sending me a handwritten letter. You guys should definitely check out Tai-Hao keycaps for your future builds. And I know you guys are used to seeing me make an entire keycap set for Animec, but because the next episodes of Animec are commissions, I want the keycaps to be a little bit more resilient. So from now on, I'm thinking about using Tai-Hao sets as the base set and only customizing the modifiers as I need to. Because they're commissions, I do want them to last a while and I don't want any of the keys to wear away. I haven't tested my own custom keycaps enough to know how long they'll actually last. And because people are actually paying me for these keyboards, I don't want to give them a product that they're not satisfied with. Okay, go down in the description and check out Tai-Hao. If you're new here, consider subscribing. As always, shout out to my Patreon because you guys are awesome. And I'll see everyone in the next video, which will hopefully be Animec Season 2, Episode 2.